Hi there, my name's Amy and welcome back to my channel. I hope you enjoy this. Today I'm going to actually do a painting on a glass, just a base painting for you using 3 different shades of purple, going from a darker to a lighter shade of purple up the glass using the Martha Stewart pouncing sticks. And I have 3 different sizes here. I'm kind of new with using these, so I just wanted to see how they worked and if they work well doing this technique on the glass. So bear with me on this. What I did was I took a darker shade of purple, mixed it with a lighter shade to get the medium shade, and then we're going to, I'm going to start with the darker shade and go with the graduated up the glass. Now when I do this, if any of you have caught this on any of my videos, I use folk art enamel paint, and I don't like to be real precise, so again, please bear with me on this. That's just my nature. If you want to have certain lines marked or whatnot, that's up to you. That's just not how I work. But I'm going to go ahead and start pouncing on the bottom part of the glass with the darker shade. Now keep in mind too that if you, like with these, it's kind of hard not to hit the top of the stem, which is fine. I mean, you can even actually go down the stem if you want, but you can actually go back and clean that up when you're done. And I'm just going to go around the glass, just keep twirling it around as I'm working on it, trying to get the base of the glass first as much as I can, trying to get in there so that it's all covered. Now with this type of technique, I've seen people just leave it. This is what the design is actually going to be. It's just this paint being pounced on the glass. Or you can use it as a base where you're going to go over it and actually paint a design on it. Or because I typically have my edges are kind of not real straight, I might go around the top and just do some type of a flower. But what I'll probably do today is just show you how I'm doing this technique. And I really do like the way this looks when it's pounced. I've done pouncing with brushes, with the scrunchie brush, with more of a stippling kind of brush, different techniques like that. But I really do like the coverage I'm getting with this. And the one thing to keep in mind when you're painting on glass, it needs to be treated like fine china. I mean, it's hand painted. Yes, it will scratch, if not taken care of properly. Or if you're washing in the dishwasher and you put it on the bottom, yeah, the paint will melt off. It will. And then I'm just going to come back in here with the medium size. Now I'm looking at this, there may not be enough variation, and maybe I would have opted to put some, maybe some white in this. But typically when you're doing this kind of a technique, they always say to mix the 2 colors together and go from there. If you're not happy with it, as my old famous saying goes, it's one thing I like about working on glass. Just rinse it off, start again, redo it. I mean, you can see a little bit of a variation, not much. It's pretty slight. So I might want to go back in and lighten this up. But I definitely like the coverage it's putting on here. I've not used these smaller ones. I was using a larger on another one that I did, which was a champagne glass. But it's definitely giving you a nice color there, nice coverage. Now, what I was going to say though is keep in mind that when you're painting with glass paint, the thicker you put the paint on, the more durable it will be. However, keeping that in mind too, you have to be careful, because if you put it on too thickly, it will bubble when you bake it. So, You know, doing like a base coat like this and then adding a design over the top will definitely make it more durable. I am not going to go all the way up to the top, even though the paint is non-toxic. I do want to leave a little bit of a space there for lips to come in contact with the, or so that they don't come in contact with the paint, not so that they do. Just a space there for, you know, people. Honestly, with this paint, I've done a lot of research. The main thing with paint like this is that if there's a crack in the paint, like say you're painting on a plate and you want to serve food on it, if there's a crack in the plate, or not the plate, but in the paint itself, bacteria can grow. And that's where their concern lies, is in the bacteria that can be found in cracks. I've read things where people have said, well, you can actually eat the paint if you want. You know, it's non-toxic. Well, I don't really recommend people eating the paint. But just to be safe, you know, keep it down. And like when you're going around the top, if you just clean it off. I know there are paint cleaners as far as like little, kind of like, they look like brushes, but they have maybe more of a rubber tip to them. You know, use those to actually clean it up a little bit. And then you can go back over, and if you want to try to kind of blend it in a little bit, so it's not like you just put the paint on top of each other. And go back over it. I mean, I really like the way it looks. Very easy. I mean, if you're going to have people over, maybe have a little painting party at your house, and you want to teach people how to do this, you know, just very easy. And I don't remember how much I paid for these little pouncers, but they weren't too expensive. You actually get six in a set. You know, so very affordable, very affordable. Alright. Like I said, you can keep messing with it if you want to blend it, you know, differently, blend it more, however, you know, you want to do it. But I think really for what we're doing right now, that's nice. You know, so you just can keep going back over it if you want, shading it more, blending it in more. Pretty easy. And then, you know, really if you want to come down the stem, you can do that. Some people will paint the bottoms of the glass. Anytime you do this, my main concern is that you put your glass, if you're going to bake it, now with the folk art enamels, they do dry with air dry. They do actually completely dry or cure, I should say, within 21 days. If you're just going to let them air dry. Now, it doesn't mean you can't use them. It just means that the paint will be totally cured in that time frame. If you use them sooner, just make sure you hand wash them with care. Keep in mind they do, you know, they can scrape, scratch, but if you treat them like fine china, they'll last a long time. If you do put them in a dishwasher, make sure that you are putting it on the top shelf, top rack, whatever you want to call it, not on the bottom, because the paint will melt off. I would seriously recommend hand washing them, not with an abrasive cleaner or an abrasive pad of any sort. Just, you know, clean them nicely, easily, dry them, put them away for the next time you want to use it when you have guests come over. If you decide you are going to bake it, put it in a cold oven, then turn your oven on to preheat it. Add your preheating time to your bake time. With folk art enamels, they do suggest 30 minutes at 350 degrees. So say my oven's preheat time is about 20 minutes. So I'll add that on to the 30-minute bake time. Once the baking is done, turn off your oven, allow the oven to cool completely, then remove your glass. The problem that you'll have as far as breakage goes or cracking is if you don't allow the gradual temperature change. That's what causes the glass to break. If it's a sudden change, then you're more likely to have breaking in your glass. And I'll be honest with you, I have baked several thousand glasses and have not, knock on wood, had any breakage, which I think is pretty darn good. Alright, well, I think we're all set. Next up, I will probably come back and show you a design I'm going to paint on here, because I probably won't just leave it like this and then go from there. But again, I really like it. I think it's very pretty. Alright, let me know what you think. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good evening.